Yo, guys, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, let's see. GPSC, are you there?
You're coming through loud and clear, Tycho. How
Perfect.
about me?
Perfect. Perfect. That's great. That's great. Then, yeah, we can get started with the episode 116 of the Stacks DeFi show, the place where we talk about all things DeFi on Stacks for many weeks in a row. Yeah, so where we just come together as builders and people building in the ecosystem to share some updates, talk a bit about some of the news from the past week, and yeah, and take things from there. Of course, very kindly hosted by the Stacks account, who always asks us to mention just briefly that everything that's shared here is, of course, for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. But other than that, I guess we can quickly introduce ourselves. I mean, I'm Tycho, co-founder of Zest Protocol, the largest DeFi protocol on Stacks in terms of TVL, and yeah, the lending protocol on Stacks where people come to earn yield on their BTC and STX. But yeah, GP, you want to do a quick intro as well, and then I think Diego from Bitflow is going to be here in a few minutes as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I am GP. I am the community founder, or not founder, community manager of Zest Protocol and Stacking DAO, and I try to inspire the change by facilitating the fun with the community. We have a good community of degens and chads alike that like to partake in these activities and get activated and stay in the know together ahead of the curve.
Yeah. Awesome. 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 Yeah. And it's been an eventful week. I mean, it's very much a bear market feelings just across the board, right? As all the sort of strategy pod slash issues and STRC going off peg, which surfaced last week, or rather off par. I mean, we shouldn't say off peg, but and yeah, and slowly gearing up for the launch of Bitcoin staking on Stacks, which is of course quite an important milestone as well. But but yeah, maybe you wanna quickly maybe share your view on that, GP. I mean, kind of I'm very deep in the Bitcoin treasury space, of course, and I mean maybe to me some of these things feel maybe quite obvious, but curious how you observed last week and your thoughts on what Saylor has been doing and where things stand right now. And yeah, I think that's like a good, because obviously the price of Bitcoin affects us all, and probably the single biggest you know impact on the price of Bitcoin today is what strategy does. So it's an important thing to quickly chat about, for Stacks' prospects in the coming months.
Yeah, I feel like he was really trying to kind of prove a point with some of the instruments that he has created. STRC is supposed to be, like slightly pegged to around $100, and it went all the way down to as low, I think, as low as $88, as and it's starting to recover. So, and he's also um put in some pretty big BTC buys, right? I feel like he was really just trying to prove a point. That uh, the products are going to be there. They can get stress tested and they won't break, right? Things aren't going to start cascading and spiraling in the wrong direction if price does start to go. Uh, it's more to, you should look at it as an opportunity, really, not financial advice, and do your own research. But like these treasury companies, they're competing to gain mind share, and I feel like what he did was what Saylor did was a very, very bold move, and I feel like it really did get some attention. Whether it was negative attention or positive attention, it got people talking, right? And that's very important for capturing mind share. And I'm interested in seeing what it looks like in a couple weeks from now, whenever things start to cool off, not so bearish. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think some of the key things to cover here as well is that, of course, like last week was the ex-dividend date, right, for STRC, so around the 15th of every month. if you're holding STRC, then you're going to get the dividend payout on the first. If you buy it afterwards, you won't get it. So usually there's a bit of a dip in the STRC price after the 15th, but last week it was obviously very amplified and it went all the way to $82, right? Whereas par is 100. So to a lot of people that look very scary, right? If you bought STRC at 100, right? Say you bought like $100 worth, so you bought one STRC share and you're expecting your monthly dividends to roll in, then that position is suddenly worth 82, right? Obviously you still get the 11.5% annual dividends every month, but yeah, that's like quite a scary thing to something that was marketed to some as a stable instrument. So I think that led to a lot of people getting flashbacks, right, of the kind of Terra Luna type of things, or other issues they've seen in DeFi, which are sort of warranted if you had the expectation it would always trade at 100. But it's a bond, right? It's a debt instrument, so it kind of fluctuates a bit. And I think it was quite clear that there were also some people shorting, right, hoping for retail capitulation, which is somewhat what has happened. But the fundamentals, are still very, very sound, right? So essentially what STRC does is that, it's issued when it's at par, right? When it's at 100 to buy Bitcoin. And then the upside of that Bitcoin is like, that's where the holders of MSTR have full exposure to it, right? So essentially, there's more Bitcoin in the treasury, and the MSTR holders will benefit from that Bitcoin appreciation, whereas the STRC holders just get their fixed, fixed yield, and or fixed dividend rather. And yeah, so that's kind of the setup. But obviously, when a lot of people want out at the same time, these kind of things can happen, and then probably a hedge fund trying to force some liquidations through here. But yeah, the strategy machine just remains very powerful, right? As we saw on Monday when Saylor announced that in this week of all the FUD, he already raised 3 months worth of dividend coverage for STRC, right? So yeah, I think that really goes to show that the capital markets are very much open to Saylor. He can raise the capital to fund the dividend or to buy Bitcoin, and yeah, the people that he's raising this capital from are quite clearly not on Twitter. So yeah,
Yeah, they're not.
crypto
They're not.
Twitter is not like the best place to understand what's going to happen to the value of these things. So
So do you think
yeah.
that what happened, SDRC getting that low was more of a shakeout, people taking a, product that is more or less supposed to be very stable and then getting over leveraged, and then, market makers maybe shaking things out a little bit?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. I would definitely say so. So I think first of all, it was already trading a bit below 100, right? So and then it went super low, right? It went like it broke through the kind of 91 mark, went all the way to 82, and that move to 82 was clearly like kind of some sort of leverage washouts, right? So people who were over levered there, they were getting liquidated, and that's just like your classic TradFi leverage, right? So people who borrowed against STRC in TradFi, and there was probably like some hedge fund that was profiting from that, right? Like shorting, selling, covering at the bottom, something like this. I mean, that's what it looks like when you look at the volume and the chart and so on. But yeah, I think just it's a good reminder for everyone, right? What kind of instrument this is. It's not a stable coin. It also doesn't have to always be at 100 to be a success. Right? And it's very different from a stable coin that sort of has to, if you're a stable coin, you have to be $1, right? And otherwise your product is useless. Whereas, a bond works very different. Or, it doesn't, it trades a bit more freely, and it doesn't, create any solvency issues for strategy if it's not exactly at 100, even if it's 82 for a bit. It just creates solvency issues for the people who had a lot of leverage against it, which for whom this should kind of be a bit of a warning shot. So yeah, I think that's kind of what we, and then even in that week where all this was going on, and all the FUD was there. Yeah, still raise about 3 months worth of cash to cover dividends with, right? Not 1 week, but 3 months worth. So that's yeah, that's about, 13, 14 weeks raised in 1 week. So yeah, if anyone had any doubts, they probably shouldn't have them anymore. But yeah, that doesn't mean that suddenly Bitcoin is going up for a while. We are where we are now, and yeah, that presents where we are today. But yeah, so that's maybe a bit of a rundown on the strategy side of things. I mean, what it means for stacks is just that, you know, yeah, the market is probably going to stay quiet for a bit longer, or bottom, or maybe bottom more. You never know. But it's a good time to be building, right? I think Monique made one of these tweets as well, where he was sort of sharing that if you have the runway right now, you have the cash, and you can keep building. That's yeah, that's where the winners of the next cycle are kind of going to come from, right? And very crucial thing. I mean, Stacks has been building through. This is like the third bear market that it's building through. I mean, of course, originally it raised money in 2017, so that's that means already 3 bear markets, and this would be a fourth one. But yeah, it's serious business, and every time kind of coming out with new products, new story, and yeah, people kind of coming back to the chain, being like, wow, these are all the things that changed since then. So yeah, that also brings us to Bitcoin staking, right? I mean, people are talking about it a lot. I think we're going to see the first of it this summer. BTC on BTC yield, as high as 3% on stacks. So yeah, it's a very interesting, very exciting thing. Um, and yeah, but also going to benefit DeFi a lot, right? I think that's the thing that's we'll communicate a bit more about the coming weeks. I already put a little longer tweet out there of like how Bitcoin staking should benefit DeFi on stacks more broadly, and yeah, they'll be shared more in the coming weeks and months. That this is really the bedrock for the whole system, and obviously bringing these BTC and BTC yields on chain is what's going to keep the whole stacks chain humming at the end of the day, right? You need that yield to be programmable on chain for people to come and to essentially pay transaction fees and STX on the network, which is then going to feed back into the BTC yield and so on, right? So Bitcoin staking is not going to work if it's only institutions participating, and it's only L1 participation. You need participation on the L2, right? And to be programmed, and that's what is really going to feed into the flywheel. So more announcements on that coming. I mean, I just pinned the tweet here in the middle, more illustrating a bit more how that flywheel works. And yeah, but this is just something we were talking a bit about before the show, right? GPSC, and yeah, I mean, you're obviously speaking with everyone in the community, and I think yeah, that tweet went a long way. So so yeah, I think we should see some good things coming there.
Yeah, especially with new products coming online. I know that Stacking DAO has been kind of teasing their liquid stacked BTC product. This liquid staked BTC product is going to supercharge the BTC, and allow people to participate and gain access to that, 3% upside or yields. It's really going to be cool to see what it looks like whenever everything is shipped. How the dynamic is going to change. After the vote goes through, and then we're all participating. Of course, we're in the Stacks forum. The community has been very active. I love to see the discussions taking place around the Bitcoin staking. It is signs of a healthy ecosystem, right? I feel like we can't all be at consensus 100% of the time. I feel like these conversations are leading to the innovation being more sound and stronger. and we're also growing. This ecosystem is growing. Has grown so much in the last year, much less the 5 or 6 or 7 that it's been running, right? So like I feel like the builders are building, and that is my signal, right? Everybody is experimenting, and experimentation is the mother of innovation. So I really do think that we have a solid chance here to create something beautiful that works for anybody, no matter what risk appetite you do have. And Stacks is a huge unlock, right? And there are community apps being built. There are different products that are coming. The infrastructure is sound and being tested right now. So yeah, it's looking very, very bright. I really liked Manib's post about the project with the runway to survive this bear market, right? Those will be the winners of the next cycle when things turn around. And I do agree with this take, right? I think that from all the way from our core entities all the way to our indie developers, we have so much talent just kind of packed in one community, and it is very, very exciting to be a participant. I'm stacking my stacks and running the yield loop, utilizing Zest and all the tools available. So not financial advice, but I'm positioning right now.
Yeah, fantastic. I think Diego should be here very soon. Just checking if you can still hear me, by the way. I see some things changed in the UI. Okay, it seems to work. Okay, Diego from Bitflow is not quite up yet. But or is he here? Maybe you want to say something.
That's one of these things about these X spaces, is that I also cannot see who is on speaker or listener until they speak.
Yeah, definitely. I think he didn't make it yet. Let me just quickly write him. I don't think we can hear you. Okay, good. Yeah, but I think maybe then to quickly cover the apps as well. Right? I mean, yeah, TBL and Stacking DAO is kind of stable and humming just fine. And so is the TBL on Zest protocol. Of course, a bit suppressed in dollar terms as the tokens are slightly down, but the borrowing very much is very much happening. Diego has said that he's asking for the mic, but I am yeah, maybe restart. Let me just respond to this.
And I also Rubes put out an awesome ecosystem map this past week, and also did some coverage of some of the DApps, some of the things that are taking place in our ecosystem, some of the things that you can participate in. And I went ahead and covered what some of these DApps are, and I pinned that up into the nest. So yeah, for anybody that is listening back, on this later on in the future, if they wanted to learn a little bit about the apps that we do have in the ecosystem. I do believe that from the Tenero handle, it's important to follow it. So be sure to follow the Tenero handle to stay in the know. It does look like we have Diego on stage now.
Good morning, guys. Good morning, GP. I was here trying to go up on stage. It's competitive.
No, good. Glad to have you here. But we just covered a bit the updates from Zest protocol Stacking DAO. It was more of a bit quieter week. Of course, after
Yes.
TGE and all those things, and we kind of covered the Saylor FUD situation / how everything is going to be great in the end, and also Bitcoin staking and what people should look forward to with regards to integrating that into DeFi. Or maybe you want to share a bit about what Bitflow has been up to.
Yeah, sure. As we all expect, summer is a time of I would take things go a little bit horizontal. People are touching the grass more often, but we did have some good milestones. Just last week, we surpassed 3 billion in total transactional volume on stacks, and that includes swaps as well as liquidity being added and removed. So that is a big milestone. We went pretty quickly from 1 to 2 to 3 billion. And I think we're close to, I'll bring in the numbers in a little bit, to 300 total swaps from HODL alone. So that is a big milestone for us. You know, as we know, there's a lot going on in the ecosystem, and being able to continue on delivering and improving and keeping up with the community and you know, making it better every day. I think that's the reason we're still here. Another shout out is Dylan posted a really good article last, I think it was last week. Bitcoin treasuries need Bitcoin bonds. I'll pin it up here as well. I think it's a definitely good read based on what the topic that you guys were just covering now. You know, Bitcoin treasuries do face a structural disadvantage versus Ethereum and other chains, as they lack the native liquidity. And you know, Bitcoin holders must sell their Bitcoin or issue more equity to cover obligations like dividends. So the strategy's first Bitcoin sell highlights how the drowned off forces self-behaving, betraying liquidations, unlike Ethereum treasuries, right, which is funded by staking yield. So I think we're moving into that right direction where, yeah, with Bitcoin staking on stacks, you know, and the need for self-custodial Bitcoin denominated bonds. I think that's going to be just massive. I think it will take I think people fully understood like the implications of a Bitcoin denominated bond, and when that is paired with a monolithic L2 to generate a sustainable yield without living L1 or giving up your keys. I mean, that's the story that we've been talking for years, right? For almost a decade, some of us, and maybe even longer if you've been in Bitcoin from the early days. And I think this solution definitely strengthens the Bitcoin treasury models and supports the Bitcoin denominated financial future that we believe in Bitcoin capital markets. I want to buy Tesla, I want to buy Apple, I want to buy Microsoft, but I want to buy them against Bitcoin denominated prices and against Bitcoin, paired to Bitcoin. And I think that's a huge, huge unlock. So definitely check that out. I think it's a really good read by Dylan. And we also have we have been ongoing with our BFF Army camps. We actually launched a new self-guided HODL guide. So this is like super easy to follow. It's in English, Portuguese, and Spanish. I'm gonna try to see if I can pin up the link here, but just go to bff.army. GP here is one of the instructors, so you'll also be able to find recorded videos from previous boot camps. But if you're just getting started, not a financial advice, but you definitely want to get as much education as possible, understand the mechanisms, understand how it works, and then maybe dip your toes into the AI agentic trading as well. On the BFF Army, we launch a agent dashboard so you can have visibility on what your agent is doing in trading. And I think it's a good way to get started. You know, you give your agent a couple bucks and you try 2 strategies and see how that works. So there's fully autonomous loops that have been created by the DeFi community on stacks and DeFi skills, and we're putting them to the test. And the agent dashboard is the beginning of that, right? You can have operating and agents, and you can monitor those. But it's important to understand how the mechanism works. So I think definitely start with the self guide on the BFF Army. Then check out the videos that was recorded by the instructors, as well as Sean Longstreet, a 6-part video that's super easy to watch. It covers all of the basics. And you can do it at your own time. You know, there's a little quiz that you can go through, so make sure that you're understanding the concepts, so that when you are doing this in an autonomous or agentic way, or getting help from your favorite LLM or agent, you understand what's going on. And I think this is a good way to get started and get your feet wet into the next phase. We are. I see. Do we have groups here? I won't cover. I won't. You know, mention the date, but we do have the Leo pool coming up. So I'm excited for that. And the Leo pool is going to be the first meme coin on HODL. And as we know, volatility is a good thing on concentrated liquidity if you are doing your job of maintaining your ranges. So I'm definitely looking for that. Looking forward to that. Yep.
Yeah. No, also, yeah, Rubes is not here, unfortunately, this week, but sure he'll be back next week or the week after that to share all his updates from Cenero, from Leo, and so on. But yeah, before anything else we haven't talked about, and we've covered a lot of things. I mean, some spaces we have more to share than others, but this was definitely a lot of good updates. Anything that we missed, GP and Diego?
Yeah, I felt like there should be it should be known that the next cohort is coming up for D grants, right? So if you are a builder in this ecosystem that is looking to maybe get bootstrapped and started, the next cohort is getting ready to spin up. So get ready for that. And I think that there is so much opportunity everywhere that you look right now to get involved and start speaking about all the things that are going on within this ecosystem. So things are being built as far as like the culture and community side. I just want to give a shout out to DCast. I think DCast is pretty cool. We got Zero Authority holding it on. I see Zero down there in the audience as well. So we do have a very strong community and culture here. I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that the next cohort is coming up, and we will be live in the Stacking DAO Discord after this for the weekly screen share. We're kind of going to be jumping into the HODL MM, as well as how to put your Zest and STX to work to capture some of that volatility. Zest got a nice pump this past couple days, and if you want to capture that and some trading fees, HODL MM is the way to do that. So I'll be covering that around 1 p.m. in the Stacking DAO Discord. So definitely get into the Zest Discord, get into the Stacking DAO Discord, and get activated, guys.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, definitely. Since Ruben's not here, I'm gonna share some of his posts. I see that there's a community town hall happening on Wednesday, 1st July. That's Wednesday 1st, 10 a.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. GMT. It's gonna have Rick and the advisor BTC. These are legendary community members. So definitely, if you can't make it to the space, I think I pinned it up. You can drop the questions on the thread for the Stacks Community Town Hall. Reach out to Rubes. There's also a Fireblocks. I would call. I think it's a webinar. I would call it that way. For institutions that are trying to figure out how to custody Bitcoin, the next phase of putting it to work. So definitely check that out as well. It's on the official Stacks page. I think that's super important. The Fortify integration means that now thousands of institutions have access to what's on Stacks, and I think this is a big unlock as well. Opening Bitcoin DeFi to 2,400 plus institutions. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Yeah, I think again, education is key. Make sure you're reading. And this is a very different cycle. It has been a different cycle. It has been the past 3 years has been completely different from the past 6 or 7 years, and I think it's for the good. I think we're out of that crazy 4-digit APY hype craze, and people are finally understanding what Bitcoin is. I think during our space last week, we also mentioned how World Cup is happening right now. But 4 years ago, we've only seen maybe a few crypto brands, let's call it, sponsoring. But now we're actually seeing FIFA running on blockchain rails, right? And they're actually doing tickets. They're all actually doing collectibles. They're doing NFTs, and they're doing, then you have the whole predictive market running on chain as well. So this is, to show that blockchain can scale, and that, virtual assets are here to stay. And I think this is the biggest sports event in the world, so it gives a lot of visibility to what it can be done, and also for those traditional finance markets that are maybe behind, they can actually see how all the stuff works, and the volume is insane. So yeah, super happy to see where that's going. And I think we'll start seeing the outcomes and seeing the benefits and seeing other products being spun up after the World Cup based on all the positive feedback that they're seeing from an infrastructure perspective. We have to remember that we have a data layer, we have an infrastructure layer, and then we have crypto and the virtual assets itself. But it's really great to see at scale all of this working. So I'm excited, and hopefully Stacks will be sponsoring the next World Cup.
Yeah, no, fantastic. I think that's a good one to close on. But yeah, I mean, it was great to chat a bit with you guys. Great to see you're all here. I see Enjo's been here back to back. Algo, Mr. Cyborg, Chad, and Welsh STX, and many others. Also see Leo to a milli. Yeah, that's right. I mean, I think it is roughly at 1 million actually. So yeah, but pretty great to have you guys here. We'll be back next week, same time, same day. As for 116 days or weeks so far. So we're here just like Stacks, and we're continuing the build out. And yeah, then we'll share also the latest from all the builders. But so far so good. We're gonna get back to work. Yeah, appreciate you guys tuning in, and then yeah, we'll be back next week. Bye, guys.
Have a great week, guys.
Bye-bye. Thank you.